Welcome to a new episode of Football Theory with your hosts, Ivan Sanchez, and also with me, my boy Guti. What's up, Guti?
Hey man, I'm doing good. I hope all is well. Week 2 of Copa Oro. Let's go.
Oh, week two, Copa Oro, that's right. And the day of recording, we got game day for Mexico. Uh, quickly, I don't know how quickly actually, we're going to touch back on the opening game Saturday night, 0-0 draw against Trinidad and Tobago. And honestly, just if you want to talk about everything that could have gone wrong, both on the field, outside the field, for the team, for the tournament, it all kind of manifested itself into this match with that 0-0 draw. Quickly, what were your thoughts? Because I not quickly again, but because there's got a lot to get into. But what do you feel after that match? What did you feel after that match?
Well, on the soccer end first, like on the field first, so many questions, right? Now we're starting to like panic, right? A little bit. I told you my friend called it. Shout out to him, Alonso. He listens to the show. He really said, "Yeah, I think there's a Chepo moment coming here, right? Where I don't know. He called it. I don't know. He says at the exact same time, like the timing's right before the World Cup. Things are starting to fall apart. We do have 2 bad results back to back as far as like official games. So I would say, I'm not happy. I'm not pleased, right? Every time Mexico doesn't win, I don't sleep right for sure. And my wife knew I was pretty mad that day. So on the soccer end, that's that. And then outside the field, I'm not gonna justify like behaviors, but I do know that the fans, I think they did their best to a certain point, and then they got to a point where they just let it go. They just gave up. They said they didn't care anymore at that point. So they got to do better, But I think it's going to continue to happen until they do something else. So
yeah, on the field, it was I think what everybody wanted from this tournament was, all right, nobody get hurt, and then in the first half, probably our best player, our most like Chucky Lozano gets hurt. Then we dominate in terms of shots, dominate in terms of possession. Couldn't get anything, and we end up in a 0-0 frustrating loss or tie. A tie that feels like a loss. You have the ref who kind of seems to not have any control or idea of what's going on in the game.
yeah,
VAR they just seem not to know what to do with VAR, and it kind of this thing that kind of keeps manifesting itself, and to a result that, just a really bad result on the field. I'm not taking it as hard as you are because the dominance was there. I think if they call that PK early and they score the goal, the game opens up a lot more.
yeah,
But
no, they should have scored in the first 15 minutes. Mexico could have scored 2-3 goals, and I think you hit it right now. I started to interrupt you, but I think definitely when Chucky got injured, and I don't think that was the mala leche. I don't think that was on purpose, like to injure him. I do think it was a push, and then it was a bad collision. But just like that happening, and the referee like I think there was another play too that where it could have been a foul or a PK, and the referee kind of just like whatever, like all in the first 15 minutes, players were kind of just like, what the heck, dude? Like that part right there, and I think they just couldn't get over the fact they didn't know how Chucky was doing. Right? They didn't
yeah,
know like his status. No one was telling them. So because we didn't know, so I know they didn't know on the field. So that kind of had to mess with them mentally for sure.
absolutely. And we're coming off of where we just saw in Europe, where a player had a traumatic injury,
Yeah.
and the reaction from the ref to the players to everything was so quick. Here you saw kind of like a ref didn't know what to do. They waited a long time to attend to Chucky, which is quite scary
Right.
when we think about what we just saw earlier this summer. I think that's one thing. And then just having no control. I'm with you that it wasn't a malicious foul on purpose. Like he shoved him, and then there was a collision after with the goalkeeper, but it wasn't that wasn't a purposeful. That wasn't their goal to hurt him. You know what I mean?
No, I
And
don't think so. Yeah.
I just happened to do that. With this isn't the first time we've drawn an early game in the tournament. 2015 when we beat Jamaica in the finals. I think they also drew against Trinidad and Tobago in the group stage. And in that game,
They're a tough team. They're a tough team, and we both named it that. I think we talked about it last week that I think they were the toughest one in the group. I know they just qualified because of like whatever circumstance they were in, but bro, they were the toughest team in the group going in physically, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you got a team that was also in the Hex last World Cup cycle. They frustrated Mexico in the past 2000. They were in the last phase of World Cup qualifying, so they have some merit to them.
You
You
can
know what
ask
I
you
mean?
can ask Bruce Arenas how he feels about Trinidad and Tobago. You know what I mean? You can ask the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
team about that. You can ask Pulisic how he feels about that too.
But there are times where just the players aren't being protected, which I think is the most frustrating part. That it does. That's as a fan, it doesn't feel like the players are being properly protected by these refs. You know, they have things that are supposed to be in place to protect them, to help them, the refs as well with VAR, that aren't being utilized in a proper way. You know, we just saw a tournament in the Euros where VAR was used exceptionally well, and here just and we kind of saw a little bit in the Nations League where they don't seem to understand what they're doing with it. So now for Mexico, they play tonight. They're recording against Guatemala. No Chucky has been sent back, which is, I think, is the best for everybody.
Dude, Napoli. I tweeted that Napoli sent the WhatsApp message faster than he got to the hospital. Like, hey, he's coming back. Like, he's not playing the rest of this tournament, bro.
He's going to be gone for. I think he's going to miss preseason 6 weeks more or less. But yeah, now Mexico has a problem where they're kind of thin up top now. Ivan Polido's being called in, who's a little hurt. Chicharito not being called up. He's hurt anyway. So really, that for at least for Tata, he saves himself that part. Is that
You're like, hey, he's hurt. I told you. I
hurt?
can't call him up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you're gonna have him. Now he's gonna have to do some more adjusting. He's gonna actually have to coach a little bit, maybe change the formation a little bit, change what they do and how they do it. You know, play more of a 4-4-2, something like that. Change up how they attack because they're not going to have as many people with the personnel they have. It doesn't seem that they're going to have those three forwards up top like they usually have. They're going to have to move things around a
But
little bit.
it can't just slide over Orbelin and play in that right spot.
Yeah, but I think Morbelin isn't. He doesn't play as much in the forefront. You know what I mean? He likes to play.
I know. He likes playing behind
a little bit, see the ball.
Hey,
more.
this is where. Hey, this is Antuna time, man. I know he's not there. I know he's in Tokyo, but this is Antuna time right here, man. Like this is it. This is he's the Copa Oro king, man.
I mean, you know, I think there is a spot for like if I need to play somewhere. I think that was a rough game for him to come into, especially the way Trinidad was playing with that physicality and the fouls and just kind of dirty too. So that was always going to be a rough game for him to come in and make an impact, especially after he just, you know, he's an 18-year-old. He just saw probably somebody he looks up to, somebody he has spent time now with, and who's probably looked for as mentorship, getting stretched off the field. So that was never going to be easy for him to come in that circumstances. But for Mexico now, yeah, they're thin up top. Fujimori, I think, becomes even more important up top for them now. And you know, now it's time for these other guys to step up.
Dude, and like I said, I didn't take it that hard. I just don't get. I'm not happy when they don't win, anyways, in any game. But I do also know, like, okay, Mexico played way better. You know what I mean? They played way better, and you know they didn't lose. First of all, they didn't lose, so we need to come down a little bit on that one. I can come down a little bit. Funes Mori scored. I thought a goal that should have been, it was onside, and that's the kind of game where like you literally needed one goal and the floodgates open up. It's one of those typical Mexico games against anybody in CONCACAF, or besides USA, or Costa Rica. But everyone else, you know, usually like you play a lower ranking team like that, it takes a while. It takes a while for Mexico to break that bust down, and they finally get through there. The next thing you know, like in injury time, they scored 3 goals or something. You know, so it was going to be one of those games. So I am upset though. I'm upset that like Tata. I know he wasn't in the bench, but I was upset. Like now I'm starting to see like he just does not change it up ever. You know, like it's going to be the same subs for the same, like man for man kind of subbing. And the strategy is like, okay, bro, you know, they're all like 6 foot tall in the back, right? They got like 5 backs, you know, and they got another block in front of them. It's like, why do you want to just keep playing through Herrera, right to left, crossing it? Like I don't think that was the game for that. It was the game for Tecatito to go into the box and try to get fouled or something. I know obviously they didn't call the fouls, but like going into the box and that one where he almost scored, right? He almost like, you know, he crossed the dude and he almost tapped it in. That's the kind of like goal that we needed to like open up the gates, you know, because like it's like take these guys one-on-one, man. Take these guys one-on-one. But I think after you saw the Chucky foul and they saw they weren't calling fouls, I think guys mentally were like, bro, I got a career to also to like respect, you know, and not trying to be like totally discriminatory against Trinidad and Tobago. But you know, yesterday, you know, the coach came out and he talked about like, oh, we've never been dirty players. We don't play like that. I don't know if you saw it, but the Trinidad and Tobago coach had a statement. And I'm like, hey, I'm all for it. I believe it. But you could ask Cuauhtemoc Blanco how he feels about that one. You know what I mean? So there is history of like, not like, I don't want to say like end careers, but there's been like just, como how we say in Mexico, bien rudo, you know, just over I don't know, over just what are they, unnecessary roughness, pretty much, I think. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you know, when worst comes to worst, or you need to make that foul outside the box last second, the foul's going to be made, and it's going to be hard, and you're going to feel it. You know what I mean? And it's not just Trinidad and Tobago; it's other teams as well that
yeah,
do this when they play against Mexico. And so, I mean, I'm expecting a win for against Guatemala. Guatemala needs a result, so I think it's lends for Mexico to have more opportunities. I think.
yeah.
So I expect a Mexico win today, day of recording. So then that'll lead to the last game of the group on Sunday against El Salvador, which I think will be a little more tougher, but I think they'll also kind of start getting a little bit of rhythm, and they're gonna get going a little bit. You know, it is a group stage. As much as we want them to roll right out of the gate and get these wins, you know, fortunately in this type of setting, you don't have to right away, and this allows them to kind of get things going, and they're going to feel themselves out. They got away from they've at least got a point off a very frustrating match, and against a very team that's going to frustrate them a lot. It's going to be interesting to see Trinidad and Tobago against El Salvador. I think that makes for a interesting clash of styles. So I think that'll tell a lot about both teams when we judge them later going on. But for Mexico, I think, you know, I'm still optimistic for them moving forward in the group stage and getting the results they need, as long as we avoid kind of injuries.
They're gonna win. I mean, they still excuses or not. I mean, Chucky, yeah, he's the best player in the Copa, and he was playing his first and last game ever. He's ever gonna play Copa Oro for sure. But you know, we have the Mexico still has a squad to win the whole thing. I mean, we need to calm down. You know, like you just got to get. You're gonna get out the group, and then whoever you face, you know, it's gonna be a tougher game because it's gonna be elimination game. But I think Mexico still has the team to win, and they still are the team to win. So I do think everyone was going bananas, like, oh, hey, what's going on with like our players going to come back? Mexico shouldn't play in the Copa Oro. It's like, okay, we need to stop with that because that is the Copa that we have to play in. You know, there's like no other Copa to play in, right? We're not playing, we're not playing Euros. We're not playing in the, African Nations Cup. We can't, right? We're playing in our confederation. So that's number one. I think people need to I think a lot of people in the media were also saying, like that the fouls were kind of dirty. I don't want to say it in this game. I don't think it was dirty. I think it was a bad collision. I think the referees have always been subpar, and we talked about it before, and I said it all the time. If Mexico plays and USA is playing, then you're going to get referees that are now in a league that you have no idea about. And we could say the Costa Rica League is okay, as far as probably the third best league, right, in CONCACAF. But after that, dude, I mean, the referees don't have the experience because they're refereeing in their country. And no disrespect to the country, but the league is not as demanding as, like a Liga MX or even the MLS in this case, So when we get a referee, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, the CONCACAF has to do better. The leagues have to do better on preparing their rest for this. You know what I mean? Because it's really putting a bit of an eye on here and a black eye, I think, a little bit. And speaking of black eyes, regardless of what happens on the field, the behavior of the Mexican fans, a lot. These are adults. I'm kind of tired of people like kind of holding their hands or kind of like little by little giving them pats on the back throughout the process. Ochoa, come on, guys, don't do it. We're better than this for the match and all these other things. Like these are grown adults. They don't need to be baby like that anymore. You know what I mean? They're adult to know. They should know what is okay. What's the parameters have been set already. They've been made now at this point. They're being stubborn just to being stubborn or to prove some dumb point. It's useless, and they don't. At the point, any argument for it is dumb because you're only hindering yourself. The players are you can tell they're fed up with it. They're frustrated with it. I think if the players spoke from their hearts instead of what's being told for them to say by the federation, I think it would hit deeper to them to actually say, you know what, just cut this crap out because we're tired of it. They're done of they're fed up with the stops. They're I think annoyed of it. You know what I mean? It's useless. And these aren't kids. These aren't kids who need a lesson or something like that. They're fucking adults.
Yeah, no,
they're adults. They're adults. I mean, they're grown ass humans. They go to work. They have sets of rules when they go to work that they're supposed to abide by.
There's
I mean,
there's like because there's still going to be like the suspension was only for the Olympic games, right? I was telling you about. I think that was confirmed. I think I was telling you that I think it was the Olympic game. So that was the suspension that they have right now for 2 games. Supposedly is like adding everything up, but like supposedly there's still more because like the game against USA, just because when they stop the game, they have to go investigate that now. So it doesn't mean that Mexico is in the clear now. Like there still could be another suspension coming based on what happened against Trinidad and Tobago and based on what happened against US and some other games. So I don't know if Mexico's going to have fans at all in the in the qualifier, eliminatorias, or what. But I think you're right. I think the players if they just came out and just talked without a script, like without no script and no like bull, little video that they made for them. If they just come out and be like, hey, look, y'all, like, we get it. You don't want to change, like whatever you grew up watching games like this. We understand that. Okay. But it's time to move on. I think if they just came out and said it like that and just been more like from the heart, like you said, like, hey, look, we want to play. We want you guys to come watch us play. And they're going to stop you from coming. We're going to lose points if you don't just stop. So we got to come up with something else to yell. And I think that's the only way to stop it is like coming up with something else to yell. That's it, Ivan. Like, because I still think it's a cool thing, like what they do, like when the goalie's going to kick it off, but it's like, just don't yell that. You know what I mean? Just change it up, do something else, get behind it. There's a couple things that always happen in Mexico games. And I think people just go for the party, and I understand that's what they go for. And one of them is like Cielito Lindo, right? A minute 30, right? And a minute 75. Okay, cool. We got that. Then just come up with another grito. So when there is a goal kick, because that is like not what they say is cool, but what that whole moment was cool because it's like, okay, they're doing a goal kick and all the fans get all rowdy about it. So just change what you're saying, and that's it. And I think the problem will be solved.
Just say pendejo.
Just say another. Hey. Or like I would say like burro, like something where it's like it sounds like it, but it's not. It's still kind of like offensive. Or they were trying to do like the fua. Remember before? Fua. Remember like America was doing that before. Like do something close to that. I really liked it in Russia when they when they did it and they were like they started singing Luis Miguel instead. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Like, that was cool. So something else. Just change it up. That's it. Just change it. That's it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not that hard, but yeah, people just want to be stubborn just to be stubborn, and it's gonna affect them. It's affecting everybody, and it's just kind of like, you kind of get fed up with it because at the end of the day, these people are adults. Who are you proving to by doing this? Like you're giving people the money to go do this. You know what I mean? You're giving them the money, which is what they want. They want you to pay for the ticket, which is expensive to begin with. And you're just going to go and do something they told you not to do already just to prove a point. Well, they already got your money, so they don't care what happens to you after that.
Yeah. At this point now that like it's already been like sanctioned, it's already been said, like people have to just go with it now. Okay, man, we don't like it. They could be like it, they could be for it or against it, but just be like, look, you know what, we can't do it no more. Let's just change it up. And I remember we do it. I'm sorry, I know we did we did La Finta. Like one time we went to Mexico, USA in Azteca, and we were being interviewed by I think Univision, but I don't know what city it was from, Univision. But they were interviewing us, and so we just started going, right, all of us. And the reporter was tripping out because she's like, these guys are not going to do this on TV. And we go, and then we go, Mexico. And we just like totally just got her. And I thought, like, I think we could just do that. Like, just kind of do the fake and then don't say anything and just go with something else. Just do the fake, La Finta. You know what I mean?
Well, and then to also to racially abuse players from Trinidad because they heard another one. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't see that, and I believe it. That's not cool. Like that's something that I take pride that, like, hey man, like my people, we can't do that. Like not our people, man. We're not doing that. So don't do that. Like we did not lose because they are dirty players. We did not lose because they did anything. We can't say anything to offend them. That's not how we should be. You know what I mean? That's not cool. Number one. First of all, because of the color of my skin, right? So I'm not a white person. It doesn't matter where I go, I'm not white. So, who are we to talk to people like that based on what they look like? No, that's not who we are. So that's number one, and in taking out your frustration, because I don't know what the frustration is. Like, okay, we tied a game 0-0. I get it. You pay $200. And trust me, I've been there, man. I've spent hundreds of dollars, not 100, hundreds of dollars, gone to Phoenix, gone to La Ciudad de Mexico, gone to other countries to watch my selección tie 0-0. Going to Vegas, which is coming up soon. Gone to tie 0-0, bro, against Guatemala in Copa Oro. I was there 2015 with Piojo. And I was like, okay, bro, what is going on here? And yeah, you do leave frustrated because you go in with these expectations of winning 8-0, you know, or 5-0. And so I'm not trying to justify their behaviors. I do know. And in Funes Mori, I thought he kind of had something right there when he said, like, look, these referees are not, you know, they're not up to the level of this. So if the game gets out of hand, that's on him. The fans are frustrated. They shouldn't yell what they're yelling, but the fans could see what the heck is going on. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Don't be, like, we got to do better. No more homophobic chants. Stop. Can't be saying racist stuff either. You know, and
how are we going to say racist things? How are we going to do that to people of color when, like, most of our nation is of color? Okay. When the first president in North American, like, history was of Afro, you know, descent. If, you know, a Mexican president was Afro descent, like, you know, who are we to do that? Like, that's not in my DNA. I know it's not in yours, and it shouldn't be in no, it shouldn't. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
That's it.
Quickly, I almost paid a lot of money to watch Mexico a couple of weeks ago in Los Angeles. I looked at it. I got permission to go earlier that morning, and I looked at the tickets. And then I said, you know what? It's in the LA Coliseum. If you've never been to the LA Coliseum,
I've been there.
That is a very warm stadium to be in, if you know it, because the sun shines right on it.
No, yeah, there's no shade.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like,
and then you're gonna go. Are you gonna pay a couple $100 to eat mole? I mean, we talked about this. Like that there was mole right there. I mean, my whole, like, thing with Copa Oro at least is like, hey, it's an official game. Like the guys are gonna go all out. That was my whole, like, and I am the only guy. I am the only friend in my friends group that, like, watches Copa Oro, right? And I tell them, look, they're official games to me. Like, I'd rather watch that than Mexico contra, you know, China. Iceland and Charlotte. You know what I mean?
I did Mexico versus China in Seattle on a Wednesday night when I was in high school.
Versus China?
Yeah. Yeah.
The ones in Seattle I never liked. I never like the opponents they took to Seattle. Like, there's like certain places they take opponents. I'm like, who's that?
They did
Ecuador a couple times, right?
They did Ecuador, and I think I don't know if they had a Gold Cup game there or they had one right before, but yeah, they might have done a Gold Cup game there. But yeah, I was the one against Nigeria the other day. I said, you know what, to drive all the way to the middle of LA, right?
Traffic.
Figueroa
Street, South Figueroa Street.
Yep. Yeah, try to get onto the USC campus. It was luckily cooler heads prevailed, so I did not do that. But yeah, people
go to have a good time though. So
they do.
Like, people keep saying, like, oh, I'm not gonna go anymore. Like, no, you are. Like,
no,
people are because when it comes to their city, it's like the Harlem Globetrotters, right? They're in town. You're gonna go. Like, you're gonna go to the game. You're gonna go see your team play. It is an opportunity for some people to watch a game they've never been able to go watch. Yeah. You know, it is kind of an all-star game. You get to see some of your Liga MX all-stars that you like, you know, people you watch on TV. So you are going to go. I think you start making choices when you have to start traveling. Like, am I going to travel for that one? No, probably not.
If it was in SoFi, I probably would have gone.
Okay. Yeah, because you go for the experience. See, I'm only going to Copa Oro final in Vegas because it's a new stadium.
Yeah, that stadium looks gorgeous.
Right. If it was like Sam Boyd Stadium they used to have before, because I've gone, you know, or whatever, or they're trying to go somewhere else, like, you know, let's just say it was some random, like if it was Phoenix, right, which I've already been several times, I probably wouldn't gone. But the fact that it's a new stadium, it's like, you know what, I could check that one off my bucket list that I went to the Raiders stadium, you know, so that's what I'm doing it for.
It's a gorgeous stadium too, you know what I mean, brand new and everything.
And it's Vegas, baby, so at least out of that, I'll get a weekend in Vegas. So
tell me about it. Like, when I think about travel, you know, I think about I do a lot of layovers down in San Francisco when I go visit family back in Oregon, and I'm just like, man, this airport could be better. But in reality, I think I'm just thinking about wanting to be in the Vegas airport, have my layover there. I think that's what subconsciously I'm thinking. Because I'm like, I'm judging these airports, and I'm just like, I really just wish I was in the Vegas airport, I think.
It's got to be a destination. I think Copa Oro is going to I guarantee you'll probably go back there again. I mean, it's going to be either LA or Vegas, but can you really look at least with Vegas, like, you have more to it. Like, yeah, you go to LA, it's a big city, but like, people are all spread out. Vegas, it's all like right here. So it's a party. Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, this one's going to be a little like died down a little bit, But Mexico USA in the final in Vegas, I mean, the atmosphere is going to be dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, I think COVID restrictions probably when the tournament came out kind of made no games in LA happen. So
That's what, yeah, no, that's definitely why there's nothing in California, because that's why I've been to Mexico, Nicaragua, in Oakland. You know what I mean? I'll go to some crazy Copa Oro games. So
yeah. All
I'm a
right,
Copa
well,
Oro
that's gonna
veteran.
wrap up our Mexican part about Gold Cup, but
Yeah.
we're gonna just head right into